Today's video is brought to you by KaseyGolden.com. Pick up these adorable washi tapes. We've got new and adorable enamel pin designs, and of course, reverse mermaid butt just in time for mermaid. Earn your artist badges by conquering art block, not drinking the paint water, and other activities like remembering to save. Check it out, KaseyGolden.com. I appreciate you guys' support so much. Let's get on with the video. Today I am going to be taking this roll of 75 feet of paper tape, a handful of Sharpies, and filling all 75 feet of this paper tape until it's complete. In case you were wondering what paper tape is, I saw this while browsing the art store and I was really curious because it looked a lot of fun to doodle on. And that's when I discovered that the back of this tape is actually activated with water, which means this is perfect tape for doodling on. So I'm super excited to fill all 75 feet of this tape. So with that, let's get into doodling on 75 feet of tape. Wow, what a experience this was. Where do I even start talking about 75 feet of doodles? Obviously, I had to start off by drawing myself holding a Sharpie and having ink explode out of it. And I will admit, I did start this back in November and I started this off on a live stream on Twitch. I was definitely feeling very much art blocked during this time. I really wasn't feeling as creative as I could be, and you know, I defaulted to ants at the beginning and I do think it's very cute. I created a scene with hills and they kind of fade away in the background with the smaller Sharpie and they come up a little bit closer again. Doodling cute little bugs, mushroom stumps, and overall just trying to get some ideas and creative, you know, juices flowing, if you will. I really had no plan for these 75 feet of doodles, and at this point I was just doodling what came to mind and going for it. Now, this is obviously a very different layout, or I don't know, shape. I don't know how to describe it. Normally, you don't doodle on something this absolutely long. So going into this, I definitely had some ideas that I wanted to, I guess, take advantage of how long the doodle was, and creating one big long scene was definitely something I wanted to do. So as you can see, I started off with a bunch of ants in a field and we slowly faded to this cave, which then slowly faded to more rocks, and then defaulting again to something familiar, we have cacti. Now, this point, I actually didn't have it painted yellow in the background, or colored with marker rather. So I was just doodling with my cacti, just filling in the space, creating this maze of cactus, just creating, you know, filling the page as I could, creating an oasis, just a cute scene with the ants, trying to get those creative juices flowing. When I got the idea to fade to a cute little scene of grass. And this is where I actually got the idea to create a rainbow scene, and I went back and colored in the sand yellow. And I had decided that I was going to create a bunch of different scenes that blended together in a rainbow. So we started off with yellow, fade to green, fade to blue, purple, and then we're gonna have to fade back to pink, red, then orange because, you know, I started off with yellow, which is a little sad, but you gotta start somewhere. So I have our grass slowly fade into green, and I've got this adorable grassy scene with mushrooms, which this is where I really started to put a lot more effort into what I thought was going to be quick doodles on 75 feet of paper. But look how cute these are. I shaded them, I put in grass. I think this is one of my favorite parts of the whole 75 feet. We have these mushrooms that fade from red to purple to violet and pink, and they just look so cute. I absolutely love this piece. Then we move on from our green, moving on to blue. We have a sky with mountains, and we have a winding dragon going in and out of the scene. Again, this is super fun to think about. Like I said, you don't normally draw on something so long. So we have all this space to create this really long dragon winding in and out of these mountains, all of these clouds, different kinds of mountains. We have a volcano, we have birds in the sky. This dragon just keeps going forever. It's a very long dragon. So we go from fading from light blue going into a dark blue. So we have our light blue sky. We are now fading into an ocean. Turns out our dragon's actually sort of like a dragon dog, and it's chasing a catfish. Moving on to some shadowy ocean creatures. We've got some seaweed. And what do you find in the ocean? Of course we see a mermaid. You know I had to include a reverse mermaid. Our blue fades from a blue to a dark blue, a darker blue, and then our purple, which then fades to black. This space scene was so much fun to draw. I absolutely love creating gradients, especially gradients that are a little bit textured. Watercolor is the best way to create space. It's so easy, just throw in some colors and they'll blend together. But when it comes to creating space with texture, especially with Sharpies or crayons or anything that doesn't, you know, blend perfectly, I think it's just so much fun. And this space scene was a lot of fun. I started off, sadly, by drawing every single star with a black Sharpie and coloring around it slowly. And then at the very end, I decided that it would actually look a lot better if I were to take a silver metallic Sharpie and color in the stars that way. So it just looks so much more bright and colorful with those metallic silver stars, sadly. Kind of a waste of effort and time, but I'm glad that in the end, these silver stars look so much better. I also absolutely love the textured, like I mentioned, the textured gradient looks so cool. It just adds so much fun to these illustrations. All of the little asteroids. I have some ants on some of the planets. We have an alien. We have a spaceship. I colored some of the stars red and pink just to give them a little bit of a pop of color, and it just makes this scene so much more colorful and fun. And if you haven't noticed by now, because I knew the whole scene was going to be black because of space, I wanted to go ahead and create another rainbow within the scene. So the planets do fade from purple to red to orange to yellow to green and then to blue, where we do have, of course, Earth. And someone in my stream suggested I draw a space whale, so we do have our space whale. So we faded from purple to black in our scene, so it's time to restart the rainbow. So I had to start with pink. So I decided to create an alien planet. So we fade from our space to just a big planet scene with alien plants. We have these weird sort of, I don't know, I took inspiration from maybe the ocean. So we have these cactus sort of looking plants that kind of look like coral. We have some other weird plants. We have these volcano-y pots of honey, sticky stuff flowing from holes in the planet. We even have a river. There are these little, I don't even know what to call these little ball-y egg-looking things coming out of the ground. Everything just looks so alien, and I probably could have just filled all 75 feet of this tape at this point with weird alien backgrounds. But we did have to move on to our red color, so I do have some of these eggs hatching open and then revealing our red scene, which fades to blood, and we have this poor sad creature that has been, well, it's seen better days. This one was so much fun. I really wasn't sure what to do going into the red and orange color of our rainbow. So I've got, as you can see, puddles of red blood, and I've got these little wormy guys that are kind of cute, but then they have these crazy faces popping out, and well, a worm's gotta eat, you know what I'm saying? This was just really dark and fun. I absolutely love the way this part looks, for sure. Moving on, fading over to orange, like I said, I really wasn't sure what to do with orange, but then I thought, well, usually deserts are sort of represented with orange, so because we're still on this alien planet, let's create a desert and we can put more dinosaur-y creatures on it. I will admit, they are, I basically just drew giant birds, which aren't dinosaurs. I also made the clouds black because I, again, wanted to focus on creating a more alien looking area. So black clouds, and then we've got, well, We all know what happens to the dinosaurs. These asteroids were so much fun to draw. Actually, this whole scene was really fun. I probably could have filled, like I said, all 75 feet with scenery and backgrounds, but we had to get, you know, into something a little more fun and colorful. So moving on, it was time to start digging deep into my brain on what to do next. So at this point, I just drew a bunch of rainbows and wanted to fill in the space with just black creatures and other random doodly things. So we have some ghosts, some creatures, flowers, plants, more black creatures, and then I moved on to random colorful shapes. Now this is very, very similar. Even the previous part, I do have a washi tape that is purple striped with ghosts inside of it. I also have a washi tape with different colors of faces overlapping. This was just so much fun. Even though I've already created something like this in washi tape, it's just so much fun to overlap colors where the yellow triangle and the blue circle overlap to create green. We've got orange here. Little funny faces are just so much fun, I think, to create. So I had a lot of fun with this. It might not be the most original with my art, but I had a lot of fun. Moving on to food, I just wanted to doodle some food. And I also realized that I moved on from using the basic fat Sharpie and really started to focus on details and using the smaller Sharpie. So I wanted to get back into incorporating that big fat Sharpie. So I created these large drawings of food, and behind the food I created smaller little doodly foods that I didn't color so that the ones that were closer did pop up. So these are just random food doodles with random food doodles behind them. We've got fruits, donuts, bacon, corn dogs, carrots. We've got a sideways ice cream. This was one illustration that I thought I would draw long, and I realized, you know what? No one wants to see 7 feet of ice cream, so I immediately stopped. And also, I didn't want to have to rotate the tape. Moving on to, again, random doodles. At this point, I was really not sure what to draw next, and whenever I don't know what to draw next, I just start drawing random silly creatures and just seeing where my brain goes. So, random creatures turned into weird fish things, flying into a frog dog's mouth and coming out as a ghost fart. And then from the ghost fart, we go through a portal to create these really fun to doodle skeletons flying through the page. Lots of fun. And I really wanted to make them look a little bit more majestic looking, so I put some plants on one of them. This one took a lot of brain power because I had to put the plants down first with the green, and then I went through with the bones, and it just took a lot of my brain, I think, to try to think about where things were going to go. Then again, go through another portal to turn into fleshy creatures. We have these very strange looking whale, platypus, bear, alligator things that are flying around. Then we've got holes and we've got worms. Again, I don't know what it is about little doodles like this, but I had so much fun creating this worm that was just going all over the page, and all these other little tiny worms on the page with their holes. So this is another little section that I just absolutely enjoyed, and I don't know why. Moving on from our little worms, we have big worms, and our big worms fade to plants. I just wanted to doodle some random plants that don't actually exist in the world. I had a lot of fun with these, just doodling plants. Then our plants turn into rocks, which turn into dirt. And I drew this sort of like alien farm. It's just a little garden with a bunch of made up weird plants and things. We have a rock garden. We have a body part garden. Moving on. Once again, hitting a section where I just wasn't sure what to draw, so I just drew random animals and fun little things with our thick Sharpie, colored them in for just a little colorful section. And then I thought, oh gosh, this is where I goofed. I was like, okay, you know what I really like to do, and I absolutely never do it? I like typography that is creating words and drawing something with them. So I wanted to write out words, but I wanted to write the words out as if they were illustrations, if that makes sense. So I thought of a phrase, and my current thought process at the moment was, what should I draw? So I was like, okay, I'm going to write out what should I draw, and I'm going to draw it with illustrations, and each letter is going to be inspired by that letter. So W, worm, what? H, hot dog, A, alligator, T, tea, what? So I continued writing, what? Should, S, snake, H, horse, O, ocean, U, underground, L, leg, D, dinosaur, which is my favorite letter, D, dinosaur. What should I, ink, draw? Okay, so I got to the D in draw. We got to the R in draw, perfect. D for donut, R for rock. And I got to the A and thought, oh yeah, draw, D-R-O. And I drew an O, O for octopus, and I realized draw, it does not have an O in it. So I goofed that and I had to turn the phrase into what should I drop, which makes absolutely no sense, but you know what? I think the illustrations turned out really fun and I enjoyed drawing it, so, you know, you win some, you lose some. Moving on from our spelling failure, I did a little set of rooms, which I had so much fun with this one. This one in particular really made me realize how much I was really focusing this project on trying to draw without sketching. I never once put a pencil on this paper. I solely wanted to focus on learning to draw with ink without having to sketch first. Now, obviously nothing in this 75 foot of paper is perfect, but I had so much fun with creating these wonky, weird perspective rooms. I had so much fun with them. We have a living room with Greg in it. You know, just really focusing on limited colors and just creating these cute little room scenes. Goes to the kitchen. We have our cat, Greg cooking breakfast, Greg eating breakfast with the cat yelling at him. Moving on to the dirty bedroom. And then the bathroom. Greg is taking a little bath. Absolutely fun. Really enjoyed these scenes. Would do again. And then we moved on to random animals on little, I don't know, environments or something. We have a deer, a walrus, a goat, a dolphin, a monkey, a rhino I tried to draw from memory that started to look like a dinosaur, but I think I've saved it. We have our elephant, an ostrich, a frog, and then we moved on to quite a classic sketchbook filler, which I might go ahead and mention. I don't think I've mentioned yet. This 75 foot by 2 inch piece of paper is the equivalent of 22.5 pages of, I think, an 8 by 10 sketchbook page. So 22.5 pages I filled. And I think it was 2 weeks. I did one sketch session in November, and then I did all of this in 2 or 3 weeks in April and just really enjoyed it. Anyways, blobs. I did a colorful rainbow of blobs, which are always so much fun to really get creative with. So we've done some interesting blobs here. From animals to weird, whatever this guy is. More weird animals, some fun plants. Blobs are really fun. If you're ever feeling stuck creatively or you just don't know what to draw some blob shapes and see what your brain sees. They're a lot of fun. But I will say the metallic markers did not allow me to draw on them very much, so they're kind of cop-outs. Now at this point we are reaching the final 10, I think, feet of the paper, and I started to just really run out. I think I kind of burnt myself out. I went through this so quickly. So I thought I would draw some creatures and animals running because it really inspired me that it was the final sort of stretch of this paper, and I was thinking, you know, I'm getting excited. It's the final stretch. Let's run for it. But then I realized that I can't have 10 feet of just animals running. It's like 1/7 of the whole page of just animals running. That's too much. So I stopped and created a rainbow coming out of this unicorn and created black figures running. And then I thought, you know what I never did? I never did, you know, aside from space, we had the black paper, but I never did any illustrations that were on like a black filled paper. And these were so much fun. I'm so glad that I thought of this idea right at the end. We have a bunch of illustrations that were painted on, I keep saying painted, I mean to say colored. They were colored on negative space, so we do have them filled with black. They are mostly just candles, but they just look so cool, and I did really enjoy doodling these, even though it was only for like 2.5 feet or so. And then it was finally the final stretch, and I thought it would be really cute to tie it all back together with ants. So we have our paper tape on our paper tape with ants cheering me on. We're almost there. For some reason, I then banned no more ants. I think I just kind of got sick of drawing them already, and I was like, no, I'm done. So then I wanted to create a sort of parade, again, going back to that final stretch of characters running. So I decided to focus on some familiar faces. We have some original characters of mine throughout the years, whether it be my original characters, comic book characters. We've got Inktober characters, random drawing characters, and then that's gonna be it. Up until the very end, we've got me celebrating and feeling a little exhausted, but also very excited to finish this 75-foot drawing. It is over. So thank you guys so much for watching this amazingly ridiculous project of 75 feet of doodles. I had so much fun with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Anyways, enjoy this epic montage of me scrolling through it very quickly, and I'll see you guys in the next video. First, a huge thank you to the patrons for supporting me. You guys are amazing. If you want early access to videos, secret sketches, live streams, and more, check out the link to my Patreon in the description. Thank you guys all seriously so much for the support. Stay golden. Bye.